progression that we're going to do in strength tomorrow. It's like a skill strength. What I want you guys to do is warm them up any way you see necessary to get them ready for the overhead squat. You know, some calf stretches, some ankle openers, some hip openers, whatever you need to do for maybe 5 or 6 minutes. Nothing too long. Just do something to get their shoulders open, some pass-throughs, whatever you think necessary to get them open and ready for the overhead squat with the PVC pipe. So the strength is going to be a minute on, minute off. And what I want you guys to do is put them into an overhead position with the PVC pipe. And we want to fight for this vertical torso position. We want to put tension, vertical tension on the torso. Right? And you can explain that exactly how that is, vertical tension on the torso, because it's going to prepare them to receive the bar better in the snatch, to overhead squat better, to back squat better, just basically get all their movements, their foundational movements better. And it will translate to simple movements like pull-ups, handstand push-ups, even push-ups, just creating that vertical tension on the torso. Okay, so we're going to take a PVC pipe and you're just going to get them to go to an overhead squat, right? Keeping that bar over the midline. And as you go, just warm them up and get them closer and closer and closer, and get them to a point where they can get to a close grip, and they can get as close as feet together. Right? And hands together. Or they can come to here and maybe feet 5, 6 inches apart. And I want them to maintain this position on the minute. Okay? So once you decide where they're going to be at, and they feel at a pretty good position, hands and feet, we're going to start the clock. You'll do 1 minute of not max effort, but just controlled squats, and we just want to look like this. Okay? So we'll get to the overhead position. Let's say this is their grip, maybe a clean grip with a push-press stance. And you're just going to get them into an overhead squat and get down and come down slow and fight back and hold for 3, 2, 1, and stand. 3, 2, 1, and stand. Fighting that bar back, trying not to get to this position here, right? But they're coming here. If they're in this position here, take them back and just make them fight for that position. Maybe widen their grip or widen their stance to help them get into that position. I would like a 3-second pause at the bottom, fighting that bar back for that 3 seconds, keeping it over the midline, right? Fighting as far back as they can, right? They're going to feel this in their shoulders, they're going to feel it lower back. And they're going to do as many squats as they can in 1 minute with controlled movement, with good mechanics, and a 3-second pause at the bottom, okay? Now, if you have an athlete that is moving well, right? Not many athletes are going to get away from this PVC pipe tomorrow. But if you have an athlete that's moving well and they are able to maintain this position, right? You may put them on a 15-pound bar, but the likelihood of doing something like that is probably not good. Keeping them in the PVC pipe is probably where you want to stay unless you have those of you guys that teach Mike Wu or down in Hoboken who have an athlete that's super freaky and has great ankle flexibility and their hips are open, their shoulders are open, but most likely everyone's going to stay with this PVC pipe. So they're going to do as many squats as they can in that minute with the closest grip and the closest stance as they can get with a 3-second pause in the bottom. I'd like to see no pauses between the squats. So if I do 1 here, 3, 2, 1, and stand. Take a deep breath. 3, 2, 1, and stand. Another deep breath. They can shake their arms out if they want in the middle of the minute. Get prepared. But I like to see minimum 5 squats on the minute with that 3-second pause. Actually, no. I'd like to see minimum 8 squats on the minute with a 3-second pause and really fighting for that position. So they can take a 3 to 4 second break in between each squat, but I'd like to see minimum 8. Okay? They'll take a minute break, shake their hands, shake their arms out, go back to the next minute, do that work again, and they'll do a minute on, minute off of overhead squats from that close grip, close stance position, and really fighting to keep that bar over the midline. They're going to feel it. Every athlete's going to feel it different. Some athletes might feel in their belly, some athletes feel in their shoulders, their back, their lower back, their butt, their ankles. But just fight for this position from the front, knees tracking over the toes, right? Keeping that bar back over the midline, making sure that they're not doing this, right? If they're doing that, widen the grip, maybe widen the stance, and have them push the bar back just a little bit more. But we're really going to fight for that. It's not a tremendous amount of, obviously this is not a tremendous amount of weight, but they're going to feel as though this is a heavy weight over their head because of the positioning that they're in. Okay? Have a great day, guys. See you tomorrow.